Hi guys, welcome to Genetry Homestead. So, I've been working in my sunroom. I got lots of stuff starting to grow. It might be a little bit early for some people, but I'm hoping to be able to get my brassicas out as soon as the ground is workable. And I would like my peppers and tomatoes to be large enough I want them fairly good size. So I want to get kind of a head start on some of this stuff. But I thought I'd give you a little tour of my sunroom now and then maybe give you some tips on starting seeds and their germination. So let's take a look. So here is my sunroom now. If you remember before, I might have had just the one plastic table right there in the sunroom, and Sean has built me two more tables here. There's a table, and there's a table, and then I hung my heat lamp up, and down here I have my brassicas. Just little babies, look at those things. Some of them are just starting to pop up, some of them are doing pretty good. I had a good germination rate with some, and then others it wasn't quite so great. I do want to go through and count my holes so that I can get an idea of exactly how many germinated out of each seed packet. So here we have got cauliflower and Brussels sprouts and broccoli and red Brussels sprouts and then some more broccoli. Sean absolutely adores broccoli. It's his absolute favorite vegetable. And as a large family, we eat about 6 heads of broccoli when we have for one meal. So we need a lot of broccoli to be able to, have broccoli once a week. So I think I have about broccoli plants. I planted about 150 of them. But not all of them have germinated. So anyways, we're going to talk about that just a little bit here also. And so then over here, I just planted these peppers. And this is onions. This is asparagus here, and then more onions. And you're probably thinking I'm crazy with the onions. And yeah, I probably am a little crazy. Oh, and up here is also onions. Yeah, so we're a little crazy with the onions. And then right here, I was just working on planting some peppers. And I don't know if you guys have seen my seed books. I have a couple of these, and I just put my seed packets in them. And then I have easy access to be able to see what I'm planting and get a good idea of what I want to plant. So, and then this here, this is my journal, my seed journal. So this is everything that I've planted. And then I will go through and see what the germination rate is on each of these. And then I will keep notes on how well they did for me each year so that I'll be more productive and plant things that are doing well for me and not just planting things because it looks cool and like fun. Even though I'm sure I will still be planting things because it looks cool and like fun. So anyways, you may be wondering why I have onion seeds on top of my light. And this is kind of what I'm going to talk about a little bit is seed germination. So different types of seeds germinate differently. So for example, down here, I have my brassicas. They really like the cold weather. They will be perfectly happy and content in 55-degree weather, which is what I keep my sunroom at when the sun's not out. My sunroom the sun heats my sunroom. So if it's cloudy all day, my sunroom is 55 degrees. My furnace will keep it at 55 degrees, but it won't keep it any warmer than that. So these plants here, they're super happy. They're like, oh boy, it's like 55 degrees. And their soil should stay cool. If the soil for brassicas gets too warm and they're bigger, they will bolt, which means that they will, instead of turning into a head of broccoli, it will turn into a head of broccoli and then a flower, like really fast, like overnight. And then you don't have the opportunity to pick it. So broccoli likes it cooler, which is why it's on the floor. This is a tile floor and it's cold. It feels cold to the touch. It's cool. And so having these on the floor, it keeps the soil a little bit cooler, because on days like today where it was sunny out, it got up to 80 degrees in my sunroom. So warm weather plants would be chilling like, sweet, this is awesome. But my broccoli is like, hey, this is a little bit warmer than I'm happy with. So by having them on the floor, it keeps their soil cooler and it keeps them happier. And so that's why I've chosen to have my brassicas on the floor, because it keeps them a little bit cooler. These, however, haven't germinated yet, and onions like it warmer to germinate. Onions like it like 70 degrees to germinate, even though for the seedlings, the ideal temperature is about 10 degrees cooler than that. Once they germinate, I'll very easily be able to take them off of the light and put them on the table here, and they will be happy all day long. Also, by putting them on the light, my light gets warm and it warms up the soil, and then the seeds are like, oh boy, look, it's time to come out. It's time for me to open up and be a cute little plant. So I have put them up here to warm up the soil. These down here, they are also warmer because they're right under the light, and that light helps to warm them up and keep them warm. I do not keep just one tray up here. I will let these sit up here until I can touch it and it feels warm. These are not quite warm yet because I put them up here maybe 45 minutes ago. Maybe not even that long ago. Maybe like 20 minutes ago. So these haven't had a chance to warm up yet, but these were up there earlier and they are warm to the touch. These have not been up there yet and they're not warm to the touch. So this, by putting them on my light, it's a little wobbly. See, you have to be careful so I don't tip them over and then dump the whole flat on the floor. But it helps to warm them up. You can do the same thing with a heating pad. If you got a bad back or a sore leg, or you've ever needed a heating pad and you got one sitting in your closet somewhere, you can slide that heating pad under there, turn it on low, and it will help warm up your soil. Even in a 55-degree room like my room gets to, it will heat up the soil and it will help those plants to germinate. So for seeds like onions, peppers, asparagus, that like to have it warmer in order for them to start growing, doing something like putting a heating pad under there, or setting them up on your light, so that, because these seeds right here, they don't need sunshine right now, except that the sunshine can help warm up the soil. So if you don't have these options, put them in a sunny window or put them next to your stove so that that soil can warm up and tell the seed, hey, it's spring, it's time to come out. We're tricking the seeds into thinking that it is spring and it's time to come out. Once the seeds come up, they can survive in 55-degree weather or room. They might not be super happy with 55-degree room, but they can survive in a 55-degree room. This also goes for things like melons. Melons like really warm temperatures. They are a warm climate plant. So they need it to be almost 70 degrees, the soil to be 70 degrees, in order for them to decide, hey, it's spring and it's time for me to come out. Same with pumpkins. So melon, and that's also something that I should talk about, is that seed or soil temperature is not the same as room temperature. Okay, room temperature, it can be 70 degrees in here and the soil that my plants are in might only be 50 degrees, right? Because room temperature is not necessarily what my soil is at, okay? Another way you can warm your soil up when you've planted your seeds is to water it with warm water, right? Heat that water up just a little bit so that it's just a little warm, not hot. You don't want to boil your seeds, but warm the water up a little bit and it will warm your soil up. And then once your soil is warm, your seeds are going to be happy and they're going to be like, oh, springtime, even though it's outside. Yeah, my seeds have been tricked, or they're in the process of being tricked that it's warm out. So anyways, these are just some things that you can do to trick your soil and your seeds into thinking that it's warmer than it actually is. Once they start to come up, they'll be okay. They might not be as super happy as they would if it was actually 70 or 80 degrees. But like I said, my sunroom, when the sun is out, it warms up to 80 degrees. If you don't have a sunroom like mine, where it will warm up several days out of the week, you might need to invest in a little heater, depending on how cold you keep your house. Most people don't keep their house as cold as I do. So I keep my sunroom at 55 degrees, but I keep my house inside where all of us are living all of the time. It's at 60 degrees. So it's snowy outside, it's 60 degrees inside. Let me tell you what, if you go outside in the snow and you come in, you're warm in 60 degrees. If you've been sitting for a while inside, you're pretty chilly at 60 degrees. You're going to want to put on a couple layers. Now I got some layers on here. See, I got a shirt here. So anyways, I just thought I would give you guys some tips on how to warm up your soil and make it so that your plants have been tricked into thinking that, hey, it's springtime and I can come out. So if you have, or not a heat lamp, I suppose a heat lamp would work too. You grow baby chicks and you got a heat lamp, maybe you try that. I wouldn't put it too close though, or you're going to roast your soil. But if you have a light, a grow light that gets warm on top, set your seeds on top. Let the soil warm up. If you have a heating pad, slide that heating pad right under the tray there and let it warm up. If you don't have trays, that's fine too. Just slide it under whatever maybe you're keeping it on like a plastic lunch tray. I have some of those that I've used in the past to put my seeds on, or a metal pan, that like you bake with. I've put seeds on those before. Maybe you just got a board that you're setting, some of these things on, perfectly fine. Just, slide that heating pad underneath them and warm that soil up so that your seeds get tricked into thinking that it's warmer than it actually is, so that they want to come out and say hi to the world. Like I said, I'm planting a little bit earlier than a lot of people do, but I want my plants to be off to a really good start. And this year I'm being a little bit more precise with what I'm growing. I'm keeping better track of what I'm growing because I want to save some seeds. So maybe we'll do some videos in the future about seed saving, and a heat lamp. You could use a heat lamp either to warm up the area, that will help to warm up the soil a little bit, or you can use, a heater, a little space heater to warm up the area that your seeds are coming up in. And the sunshine, right? Put them right in a sunny window. That sun will help to warm up your seeds if the sun is out. Or you can put them in by the stove, just take them in, set them by the stove while you're cooking spaghetti or whatever. I have spaghetti on my brain because that's what we're having for dinner tonight, I think. Unless somebody really protests. But, so it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be like the world's most fancy heat light, right? Or grow light, right? It can just be, a lamp that's putting off a little bit of heat that you're going to set right next to them to get them to warm up, so that soil temperature warms up, so that your plants or your seeds are happy and say, hey, let's come out and grow. It must be springtime. And then they're going to be disappointed when they grow and it's not springtime. But that's okay, because then they will still grow and they will be big and happy for when we put them outside. So anyways, thanks for visiting Genetry Homestead today, guys. And I hope you find it helpful. Another thing about planting seeds is make sure you look at how deep you're supposed to plant them. If a seed is supposed to be sprinkled on top of the soil and you plant it 1/4 of an inch deep, your seed's not coming up. If your seed is supposed to be 1/4 of an inch deep and you put it on top and you put hardly any soil on it, your seed's not coming up. Most seed packages have instructions on them that say how deep you should plant your seeds. So make sure you're reading how deep you should plant your seeds and you're following that accordingly. Because if you can be the greatest gardener in the world, but if you don't plant the seeds the way the seeds want to be planted, they're not going to come up. So that's another thing. And then soil moisture, right? You can't just plant your seeds in dry dirt, right? But you also can't drown your seeds. So you plant your seed in dry dirt, it's not going to get any moisture. It's just going to sit there and it's going to be like, oh, look, I'm chilling out in some dry dirt. It's not coming up. You put your seed in some dirt and then you drown it so it's like sopping wet. You could literally squeeze the water out of it. You're going to rot your seed. Your seed's not going to germinate. It's just going to rot. So that's something else that can cause seeds to not come up. So, and different seeds, I'm sure, like different moisture content. And sometimes on the seed packages, they will say like, keep soil moist until it germinates. Moist does not mean stopping wet. I can squeeze it out, right? Moist means that when you stick your finger in, it comes out a little bit dirty, right? And that's how you want your soil when it says to keep your soil moist, is that if you stick your finger in, it comes out a little bit dirty, a little bit damp, but not like you just stuck it in a mud pie. If you're sticking your finger in a mud pie, there's a very good chance that you may rot your seed, and you don't want to rot your seeds. So, and then, you know, if you don't give them any water, they're just going to sit there and chill like they would if they were in their seed package, because in their brain, the surroundings haven't changed. They don't know that, hey, this is nice soil to grow in. They need the moisture that triggers them and says, oh, now it's time to grow. Look, I'm wet. I've got nutrients around me, and now I can come out and turn into a happy plant. So, and that's our goal, happy plants. Happy plants on Genetry Homestead is the goal for the year. So hopefully I'll be able to show you guys here in a week. Hopefully I'll have some happy plants. Hopefully my onions will come up. I used seeds from that I got last year, and I don't know how long they sat on the shelf before I bought them, because they're not, only 2 of these are Baker Creek. So I have no idea how long, and I bought the 2 from Baker Creek, I bought them this year. So, but I don't know how long the rest of the seeds sat on the shelf. And onion seeds, they don't last long. They like 1 year, you plant them, and if you don't, then sorry, Charlie, they might not come up. So some of these might not turn into anything. I might be trying to make happy plants. I'm not going to get squat, but, and that's another thing, is that shelf life of your seeds is also important. You know, some seeds, they're great on the shelf for 10 years. Some seeds are great on the shelf for 5 years. And then other seeds like onions, like those things right there, their shelf life is like a year. And then after that, you're lucky if you get half of them to come up. Peppers, their lifespan is a lot longer than onions. So if you hold on to a pepper packet for a couple of years and use that plant that pepper packet, you know, for a couple of years, you're probably still gonna get a good germination rate. But onions are fussy. If they aren't planted like the first year, they have a hard time coming up. So some of these might not come up, and I'll be more than happy to share with you if they came up or not. So I guess we're just gonna wait and see and find out. So anyways, next time on Genetry Solar, or Genetry Homestead Solar, Genetry Solar, go check out Sean's stuff. He's Genetry Solar. I'm Genetry Homestead. Anyway, so next time on Genetry Homestead, maybe we'll see if any of these onions came up. They've been in the soil for a little while now, so I'm hoping that this warmness will make them happy and decide to come up. So anyways, next time on Genetry's Homestead, stop saying so. Genetry Homestead, we'll talk about seeds. Talk to you guys later.